I am the secretary at the cricket club. I've actually been there since, pretty much birth, so over 20 years now. But I've been the secretary for, this will be my 7th season. So it's been a bit of a family-run club for the entire time I've known it. So we're now getting to the stage where quite a lot of the lads who were at a very successful junior side, getting probably back to 10, 15 years ago, we're all now getting to the mid to late 20s age group, and obviously looking forward to try and push on and we obviously missed out on promotion last year by a place, but I think that now we've built over the winter again, and looking forward to making another stab at trying to get up a division into the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last season it was a little bit disrupted by COVID. I mean, the games did take place, but there were a lot of conditions in place which I suppose some people would view as a little bit negative. You know, the cleaning of the ball, and obviously you had to do it at the time due to COVID. But are you looking forward to a fresh season now with none of those kind of regulations in place?
Yeah, I mean, it should be obviously nice to revert back to quote-unquote normal conditions. Yeah. I think we were quite lucky during the 2020 season, where obviously that was only a shortened version. I think we played about 9 or 10 games where we got a little bit used to the COVID regulations and what was required and that kind of thing, cleaning the ball, obviously not having tees at half-time and those kind of things. So actually last season it wasn't too much of a disruption. You kind of get used to it quite easily. But obviously it would be just nice to revert back to normal regulations, and also we're massively looking forward to it.
Yeah, certainly will be. And I mean, you mentioned the tees then. Am I right in thinking that tees will stop this season permanently? Is that part of the Greater Manchester regulations?
I think they're still waiting on a decision on it, to be honest. I think there's been a bit of differing views from different clubs around the area, because I think quite a lot of people, even though it's obviously the tradition of having tees, and obviously it's quite a nice thing for the home club to put on for the away side. I think quite a lot of people have just preferred having their own options, and they can bring their own food, and they don't have to. There's a little bit of a panic if they don't like any of the food that's been put on. But yeah, I think we're still waiting for the decision. I think they said it'll be this week when they will make the announcement, unless I've missed it already.
So what's your personal preference? Do you think it's a little bit outdated? Would you like to see an option of people bringing their own food? What's your view on it?
My personal view, and I know that is also differing with other members in our own club as well, which obviously makes it I appreciate the difficulty with the decision for the league, is personally, we just go or keep it as it was in terms of bringing people's own food during COVID. I just think it's a lot more your own personal choice. You can, because quite a lot of people don't want to do teas. Also, don't even eat teas at half time. Just personal preference from themselves. But again, on the flip side, if those clubs who have volunteers who do the cooking and obviously putting the spreads on, it's something that they do on a Saturday afternoon, then again, completely for it. But whichever decision they make, not to completely sit on the fence with it, but I'm not too dissuaded either way.
As you alluded to earlier, you're going for promotion this season in Division 1 of the Greater Manchester Cricket League. Just missed out last season. What have preparations been like ahead of this season? Have you retained the numbers from last season? Have you seen new faces come in?
Yeah, so the numbers are exactly the same, but with at least 4 new recruits, which obviously massively helps with the competition for places. Probably the major one that we've had brought in this winter or for the upcoming season is we've got an overseas amateur, in which would be the first time that the club has gone for an overseas player. So it's obviously just showing the progress that we've made in the last couple of years. And then from the actual preparation side of things, from a purely cricketing point of view, we've been netting now since the first week of November. So it's probably the longest pre-season I think I've ever known. But it's just been a really nice thing to get the lads together on a Monday night, probably getting very good numbers down to training, and obviously then looking forward to trying to get building that up now for the remaining weeks up until probably the beginning of April, where we're looking to try and get a couple of pre-season games in and obviously hit the ground running for the 23rd of April.
Yep, you just mentioned it then, the 23rd of April, the opening fixtures in the Great Manchester Cricket League. But you just said then you've been netting since November. Is that something that all the players get on board with? I mean, at that time, a lot of players will be playing football and stuff like that. Is that to really gear you up for the new season, or is it just basically people wanting to play out of enjoyment?
Probably the latter in terms of actual enjoyment. I think it's probably a mix of the COVID thing over the last 2 years. That quite a lot of people, any excuse to get out of the house, to a certain extent. But yeah, it's just been nice, like I said, because we're all group of lads, all similar age. It's just been a nice little bit of a social thing. So pretty much pre-Christmas, it was that social side of it, going down 10 and 12 was pretty much every week. Having a bit of a laugh, having a bit of a get together, that kind of thing, and then obviously now into the new year, when we have noticed quite a significant, it's a lot more busy in total cricket than it was pre-Christmas. But again, obviously trying to take it a little bit more seriously, obviously doing little scenarios and stuff that we're looking to implement in the for the start of the season. So quite nice just to blowing the cobwebs off, so to speak, pre-Christmas, and then trying to get it a little bit more serious from now to April. Yeah,
well, the season will soon come round, but how long have you been in the GMCL for? Am I right in believing that you were previously members of the Derbyshire and Cheshire League?
Yeah, so we joined the GMCL, our full first season would have been the 2020 season, which obviously was unfortunately cut short a little bit due to obviously COVID.
Yeah.
But we really enjoyed that first initial season. Obviously, the stuff that the league put on, in terms of just the general communication, and making sure all the games were sorted, umpires, all the general stuff was really, really impressive. And then last year was our first full season. We had actually volunteered to go up a division more than what we were originally set at. So obviously we're potentially looking at, well, just staying in the division to begin with, but the performances that the lads put in over the year got quite close. We missed out by one or two wins in the end.
Yeah.
But generally, really, really enjoyed it. It was a slightly different format in terms of, longer format, should I say, 50 overs in the Greater Manchester than it was in the Derbyshire and Cheshire. We've also felt that the standard of cricket is a lot higher, and which kind of we've obviously then had to raise our game accordingly, and it's really proved dividends last year, and like I said, just push on for 2022.
Brilliant stuff. So what's the club's ultimate ambition then in terms of the first team?
I mean, ultimate ambition, it's just get up as high as possible. We fully appreciate that we're obviously a small club and obviously competing with the big boy in Glossop. That's obviously quite close to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the progress that we've made in the last 2 years especially, it's looking like hopefully obviously get into the championship, and then we did play one championship side last year in Shaw. Got a little bit of a insight of how much further we need to go.
Yeah.
But that'll be the ultimate ambition. Just keep building year on year, trying to recruit new players. Obviously, success on the pitch obviously sells your club a lot better, and especially with all the off the field things that we've tried to improve. Or have improved, over the last couple of years in terms of especially the grounds, so new roller, new outfield mower, and then also now we've got an electronic scoreboard. It's just adding to all those separate little things just to try to make our club obviously appeal to more people and hopefully just continue the success.
Yeah, well, the club does sound attractive, but talking from a money perspective, there's a lot of money floating about in club cricket these days. What's your opinion on that? Do you think it should be limited, or do you think clubs should be free to spend as much as they want to attract the players that they desire?
This is the first time we've actually realistically had to experience it, because there wasn't, in the Derbyshire and Cheshire League, you weren't allowed pros. So again, I've not really got much opinion on it either way. I think if the club has the money to spend it, as long as it's if you are getting an overseas pro, they're obviously helping out on the pitch, but obviously again it's more the off the field stuff with helping out with the junior sections, and obviously if you're growing the game that way, then I've not got any personal issue with it. Obviously we're not in the position to be spending absolutely thousands and thousands on recruiting players, but I think that's one thing that we're particularly proud of, is 90% of the first team are all lads that have played from our junior section and come all the way up, with obviously the addition of our overseas amateur this year. we're getting that core base of players, and then hopefully with success we can obviously look into that into the future.
So it sounds like there's a clear pathway from the juniors to the first team. So how important, it sounds silly this question now, but how important is it to establish a strong junior section for the long-term future of the club?
Oh, massively. I mean, I think with our current first team is obviously that sums it up perfectly. I'm 28 and I'll probably be classed as the oldest this year, which is slightly depressing feeling. But I think we've had a little bit of a wane probably the last couple of years in terms of our junior setup, just from people being obviously taken out to football and that kind of stuff, but from probably the ages of probably the 13 up to 18. But what we have particularly tried built on in the last few years as well, with the introduction of the 100, the competition. So we've got the All-Stars programme and the Dynamos, which we've had up to 45 kids on a Friday night, all coming down, learning the cricket. And then obviously this year we're trying to actually run to the under-9s and under-11s, or under-9s softball, and try and get the under-11s to the hardball cricket. And then obviously we've got those players there, and obviously they can keep enjoying their cricket, obviously having the social side on a Friday night, and obviously on some of the summer evenings during the summer holidays. That is the next generation, as you sort of speak. But yeah, it's massively important, and it's something that quite a lot of the first team members who remember their time at the club being helped out with their junior cricket are now trying to repay the service, so to speak, and obviously they're helping out on the Friday nights as well.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And just finally, you've alluded to it earlier, but 2020 cricket, massively important for local clubs. It attracts bigger crowds, there's a big social element to it. Generally take place on a Friday, well, when they do take place on a Friday night, big crowds flock to the clubs. What do you make of it as a concept? Do you think it is important to attract members to the club to have a social and have a drink?
Oh, massively, yeah. Obviously, personally, absolutely love T20 cricket. Obviously, the longer form is obviously the enjoy most. Obviously, spending all day on a Saturday. But in terms of the fun aspect and getting people engaged in cricket, I think T20 is absolutely perfect for it. There's quite a lot of people, when you speak to them, who potentially have dropped out of the game when they were younger, said that they can't commit to spending all day on a Saturday playing cricket, but they would prefer to do some T20 cricket. I think that's massively important in just trying to keep everyone engaged. And then, like you mentioned, getting the local community involved, especially on Friday nights for the games, massively important for funding for the local clubs. Remember, we had a game versus Glossop during the first season we had in the GMCL in the 2020. And that was because it was obviously Hadfield versus Glossop. Also, loads of people in the local area. It was probably one of the largest crowds we'd had at Hadfield. Really nice to see, and I think that's probably something that's going to continue for a good while yet. The captain is Cameron Ball. So again, he was one of the lads that we recruited again last year. He was from literally 3 years old. I think he was playing at our cricket club. Obviously, he was very successful and ended up playing a couple of games for Leicestershire second team. And then last year we've got him back, thankfully, and he's made a massive difference to the club in terms of particularly on the field, but obviously then he's work off the field as well.